Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the New Breed Podcast. I know that you're wondering why it's called the New Breed Podcast. Well, in Cleveland, we call ourselves the Dogs because of the dog pound. And so my son has no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about the original dog pound. And so he is a new breed of dog. And so he remembers and knows only so much, right? So I got to fill in the blanks. Right? So I am Mike Mitchell. I am a longtime Browns fan. I can remember I was about 7 years old when Brian Sipe and the Cardiac Kids broke a long streak, not quite as long as what Baker Mayfield and crew broke, but they broke a long streak and finally made it to the playoffs with an 11-5 season in 1980. So I remember that. That's my heritage. That's my history. I remember that. Grady, introduce yourself.
I am Grady Mitchell. I am the new breed of Browns fan. I'm used to watching Baker Mayfield sling the rock normally. I don't know really what else to say because they're the Browns. I mean, they're awesome, you know?
It's great. It's great because of the experience I had as a young kid, and then I got to have Bernie Kosar and Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner and Reggie Langhorne and Webster Slaughter. I got to have those guys, and those were kind of my favorites. I mean, Clay Matthews is still my all-time favorite Brown. How can he not be? The Bernie Kosars, the Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield. You've got to love those two guys. They started the dog pound. Webster Slaughter, come on, spray painting his shoes orange just so we could have orange shoes on game day. You got to love those guys. Grady, who you've got a small sample size because you've only been really watching football, liking it, and being a true Browns fan for about 2 years now almost.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite Browns players?
To be honest, I don't even know like half the names that you just said. I'm like, Browns.
Yes.
But I'd say my favorite players of all time are on offense. It's Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb.
It's a good choice.
Nick Chubb is a beast. He's an absolute animal on the field. I've seen him stiff arm people multiple times, and just say when people go up against Nick Chubb, they get a taste of the ground. And Jarvis Landry, he's just got this vibe and mentality, and he's just an absolute man. He makes some of the craziest contested catches, and it's just crazy, man.
Crazy.
But on defense, my favorite players are Joe Schobert and Myles Garrett. So, because Myles Garrett, he's been like one of the top sack leaders ever since he got into the NFL. So, and Joe Schobert last year, I'm sad that he left, but they should have paid him his money. We should have gotten Andrew Berry in sooner. I just loved him after that like crazy day at Miami last year. That was mental.
I have to agree with you. I think Joe Schobert was one of my favorites of last year. Really wish he would have come back. I thought him and Mack Wilson last year were quite the tandem of linebackers. And if we'd have had those two all year healthy, who knows what would happen this year, but we didn't. So this being our first episode, our season premiere, right? We are trying to enlighten folks to where we came from. You now know us a little bit, kind of our Cleveland Browns history, if you will. Some longer and deeper and sadder than others. Yeah, I had to live through, the 1 in 31 years. But what we know is that we were in the divisional round of the playoffs just yesterday. Probably not the way we wanted it to go. What's your thoughts on the Kansas City game?
I thought that our tackling was just not impressive at all, and I think with the Kansas City Chiefs' one loss, the way that they lost to the Raiders is the run game with Josh Jacobs, and I think if we would have ran the ball more with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, maybe we would have just won that game.
It's possible. It's possible. I do agree with you on the tackling. I saw a lot of, you know, kind of dead leg tackles, like just kind of missed. I'm never going to be a guy that's going to blame any kind of officiating or anything like that. I don't think that really matters in the grand scheme, because if you want to beat somebody, you can beat them. Just ask Pittsburgh. Yeah, I said it. I think that there needs to be consistency, though, in rules and in calling calls. I know that Travis Kelce was obviously upset that Mac Wilson hit his quarterback, but it was a quarterback run, and he never made helmet-to-helmet contact. It was legit, proper. The gator roll thing, he kind of looked like he kind of got his arm caught underneath his helmet, and I think when he pinned it, it kind of had it kind of choked him out, UFC style, in a quick fashion there. However, Dirty Dan, in his hit on Hollywood Higgins, that was straight helmet to helmet, man. Dude came flying in, hands down.
Yeah.
He didn't even have his hands out. He wasn't even trying to tackle him. He just had hands down, boom, helmet to helmet. And I've seen that replay over and over and over again. And poor Hollywood, his head kind of pops every time that happens. But I think all in all, it was a great year. I think that new coaches, new staff, a few new faces. Go ahead.
Kevin Stefanski deserves Coach of the Year, clearly. The way that he came in this year and just changed the Browns' whole organization is just amazing.
Yeah, I think he changed the culture. I think you saw guys like Hugh Jackson and guys like Freddie Kitchens. They wanted to, but I don't know that they really knew how. And I think what Stefanski has that those guys don't have, he's a motivator without trying to tell grown men who are millionaires how to motivate themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows the buttons to push. Like we got to win. And if we're going to win, there's things that we got to do. And so, but he himself was all about doing those things and accomplishing those things. So I think that's kind of where a lot of that comes from.
I heard some stuff about him, and he doesn't overreact about anything. He is great. Like penalties, doesn't care. Players are mad, he doesn't care. He just goes out there to coach football and to win football games. And that's what I love about him.
I have to agree. I think that's a great thing. So again, this is our first episode. You're just getting a chance to meet us. We're going to talk about Browns football a lot over the coming weeks. Hopefully leading up to the draft, we're going to talk about who's kind of the best fit, where are some of our needs, what's going to happen in the offseason, who are the free agents that we really need to look at and sign. Again, but these are all opinions of an old dog Browns fan and a new breed Browns fan, and really opinions are everything you pay for them, not a whole lot. So take them for what they're worth. This season was the first time, okay, and I know you weren't alive. You were not alive then, but this is the first season that we won more, or 12 games, because we won in the wild card round versus the Steelers. This is the first time we've won 12 games as a franchise since 1994.
Wow. You have to be 26 years old just to know what the Browns winning.
You have to be 26 years old just to know when the last time is the Browns had 12 wins. Let that sink in for a minute. He's going to be 13 on Monday, and he's never seen the Browns have what's the most seasons? We've only had one winning season since then. That was 2 years ago. Baker's first year.
I don't.
When he came in, we went 8-8.
Season.
Didn't we go 8-8? We went 7-9 that year.
I think we went 7. No, we went 7-8-1.
7-8-1. You're right. 7-8-1. We had the tie. And then last year was worse.
Yeah, 6-10.
Thanks, Freddie. We love you, but thanks, Freddie.
Freddie Kitchens.
So I want to take you to 1994. For those of you included, who were not alive in 1994. I want you to remember what it was like to be a Browns fan in 1994. We were 11-5. We were second in the AFC Central. Made it to the wild card round. Our head coach at the time was the not yet legendary Bill Belichick. Now we had a decent scoring offense. It was not proficient. It was not explosive by any stretch of the imagination, only averaging about 21.3 points a game, 340 points on the year. We were 11th in scoring in the NFL that year. Points against, though, we only gave up, the stingy defense, only gave up 12.8 points a game. We were first in scoring defense that year. We were expected to have a good team that year. A lot of predictions were the 12-6 range, or 12-4 range, excuse me. Yeah, you're a better math guy than I am. But obviously going 11-5, winning a playoff game, going 12-5, that was pretty much right where everybody expected us to be. We won in the wild card round against the New England Patriots that year, 20-13. We would then lose in the divisional round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I still remember this game in my bones, 9-29. It was worse than the Kansas City loss yesterday, because that was the third time in 1994 that the Steelers would beat the Browns, and it would basically begin the stretch of basically the Steelers' ownership of the Cleveland Browns. The offensive coordinator was an unknown, Steve Crosby at the time. However, you would know who the defensive coordinator is of the number one scoring defense in the NFL in 1994. That was the one and only Nick Saban. Yes, that Nick Saban of Alabama fame. Now, a few of the keynote players whom you don't know. Defensive end Rob Burnett led the team in sacks with 10. Pepper Johnson led the team with tackles with 122. He had 95 solo tackles that year. Huge number. Eric the Hitman Turner. Man, I love me some Eric Turner back in the day. He had 1 sack, 9 interceptions, leading the team, and even a fumble recovery. On offense, you might remember this name. He didn't retire that long ago. Quarterback Vinny Testaverde. Vinny didn't have any superior numbers that year. He was 55% from the field, throwing the football, completion percentage, 2,575 yards. He had 16 touchdowns, but 18 picks, and rushed 21 times, believe it or not, for 37 yards and 2 touchdowns. The leading rusher, Leroy Horde, out of Michigan. I know, sorry, Ohio fans. I know you love the Browns, so do we, but we are also Michigan fans too, so this is kind of a neat part of our segment. We had center Steve Everett, who was in his second year in 1994 out of the University of Michigan. We had Leroy Horde, 890 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, 445 yards receiving with 4 touchdowns. And also, rookie Derek Alexander out of Michigan had 48 catches for 828 yards. That was a 17.3 average per catch and 2 touchdowns in his rookie season with the Cleveland Browns.
I would have loved to see Donovan Peoples-Jones put up those stats if he got looked at more than he might have just done that.
I think Donovan Peoples-Jones could have had a 48 catch, 828 yard, 2 touchdown. I think he could have done that. I mean, he made some great catches, and I think he'll be one of those players that we talk about in our future spotlights that we're going to talk about. Eric Metcalf, though, come on. Everybody loved them some Eric Metcalf back in the day. He had 2 punt returns for touchdowns in 1994. He had 329 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns and 436 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. He was the do-it-everything back, and he was impressive. Another one of my favorites from the good old days, if you will, was Eric Metcalf. Can't forget guys like Ernest Biner, Kevin Mack. I'm not sure anyone's ever had 2,000-yard rushers in their backfield, but I think if Nick Chubb stays healthy next year and we really push that running game, which I think we can, especially behind the best offensive line in football, I think we could have run the football down Kansas City's throat yesterday if we really wanted to.
We need to talk about that against the Chiefs. Jedrick Wills going out early in that first quarter just hurt us on the left side a lot.
Well, I think it was not only did Jedrick Wills go out in that first quarter, Kendall Lamb came in, did a good job behind him, but then he went out. And you had Blake Hance, my guy Blake, came in. He did a really good job, but I think it affects the cohesiveness up front. There's got to be communication issues when that happens. So it's got to be a little bit difficult to manage that. But all in all, I think the Browns had a great season. I think 2020 Many people are saying 2020 was awful, but I think as a Browns fan, 2020 was the start of something special in Cleveland, Ohio. And I hope that you guys are ready for what's coming. Free agency is going to be here. We have a ton of free agents on our roster. Probably look for us to break that down a little bit next week. We're going to talk about how things change, how things move, and what we can do. Keeping some key players, I think like guys like Carl Joseph, I think you really got to give Olivier Vernon maybe a shot to come back. Guys like that we should probably bring back. There's a host of guys that, maybe we don't bring back. Let them go, find a way to get in with a team. And then we can maybe pick some good free agents to join this already powerful squad. But I think defense is definitely the side of the ball that we got to improve on.
Yeah, definitely. Linebackers, that was the main point of the missed tackles on Sunday. Taki, I mean, I love him, but sometimes he can just be inconsistent with his tackling. It's a really big issue. I like BJ Goodson. He's a really hard hitter, really good field general. Very, very strong and powerful man.
Larry Ogunjobi's a big favorite in our house. Game days, whenever Larry busts through the line and makes a stop, it's a big Larry in our house. Larry. I don't know if it's that the way you guys do it or not, but we are some huge fans. We're looking forward to sharing kind of our thoughts, our fandom, and our hope for the Browns in the New Breed podcast. Friends, we're going to hopefully expand this. I know if you're watching the episode on YouTube, this probably isn't going to be our studio forever. We're probably going to get out of Mom's basement and try to get a place where we can actually film something good. Those of you that are listening, I hope that you enjoy it. Hopefully, as we get bigger and better, we'll have guests to bring on. We'll bring on, if nothing else, we'll start bringing on some old school Browns fans that we know that can impart some knowledge to our younger fans and just really kind of expand the New Breed podcast line. Friends, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure sharing our thoughts with you. Anything you want to say in closing, Grady?
Go Browns.
Go Browns. He doesn't bark. I don't know why.
No, I don't bark.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great time. See you next time.